Is Dorsey to throw. Yeah! He throws it in the end zone.
Off to the races. Can they catch it? Cuts it back. Ohio
State wins. The Ohio State of Mind podcast, hosted by Josh Deere and Chris Brennan. All right, welcome to the Ohio State of Mind podcast. This is not episode anything. This is a post-game breakdown. We're going to see if we can try to get a nice little 5, 10, 15, depending on how many of you are out there want to listen, want to talk to you about this 31-7 victory for the Ohio State Buckeyes at Wrigley Field. Josh, how are you?
I've been better, man. I'm a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie. After watching Mike Tyson not move last night.
Well, I mean, are you more disappointed that that's time you're never going to get back?
I am. Well, at least I got to see Tyson's ass. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, if I was hoping Vegas was going to take some kind of fucking number on that one.
Yeah,
but I didn't see anything posted.
But
I didn't see anything posted.
Yeah, I thought Ohio State looked bad, man. There's not there. I mean, if there's two positives, I'm going to go back. I'm going to watch it a second time tomorrow. It's much harder to watch. I don't know. Like I bitched about the wide receivers a little bit last week. I don't want to bitch about them today. They look good to me today. But that's also, I didn't get to see them. You know, that was part of the issue with the last game. When I'm there, I actually get to see them move around and all that good stuff.
Right.
You know, what's not on TV. But I didn't notice any. I thought the wide receivers played well. I thought they got open. I thought Cardinal Tate played great. We've talked about Cardinal Tate. We talked about a breakout game from him. You know, he was a former 5-star recruit too that everybody kind of forgot about when Jeremiah Smith came out the campus. And we said all offseason, hey, don't forget about Cardinal Tate. Don't forget about Cardinal Tate, or at least I said it all offseason. And we saw it today. He was the best wide receiver out there. We saw G. Scott he looked more competent than last week. Jeremiah Smith always looks good, right? And Emeka Egbuka looked good. So I was very happy with the receivers. I was also very happy with the running backs. Quinshon Judkins, he ran hard. He blocked hard. Travion Henderson had a couple splash runs, looked very good. Again, blocked hard, ran hard. I think he even contributed in the receiving game. He had 2 receptions for 19 yards. So I'm happy with that. I thought James Peoples looked good.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see much of him. I thought Will Howard looked good. Another masterclass performance by Will Howard. I think who's going to be in New York for the Heisman ceremony. I know that's a big controversial topic because Will Howard. But again, I thought he looked great. My immediate concern after initially watching it is the defensive backfield. I mean, you texted me about Denzel Burke. Jermaine Matthews was getting burnt. You know, I don't really know what the plan. But the plan, Igbenogson is, you know, he gets beat every now and again. If he's not getting called for pass interference, he's getting beat. Yeah, man, I don't really know. Luckily we have Indiana, who's got decent receivers, but not enough to kill us. In Michigan on deck, but you know, I don't know what they're going to do for Oregon, dude. They don't strike any confidence in me at all.
No, and you know, honestly, just watching this defensive backfield, it's other than honestly Caleb Downs, it seems like, hey, you know, if you guys can stay with them, that's all I'm asking, and maybe that's all Jim Knowles is asking, because they're with them, stride for stride, they're all up on them, they're on that hip pocket, but they're just not turning, they're not making plays. I mean, and don't get me wrong, Northwestern quarterback Lausch, he had a good game. I mean, for him to come in, well, for him as the quarterback for a 4-5 team, he builds some confidence today. and he didn't do anything that wasn't anything that's crazy back shoulder or this, that, and the third. But he got comfortable and he looked comfortable even under duress some of the time. But I think for Northwestern, I think he played a good game. I think he knew what he was up against, and I think he would look back at that tape and say, hey, I did something good here, or hey, I build something off of this. When it comes to his backs, though, down the sideline, and it seems like they were just running dig routes, these old school, NCAA route, just straight across the middle, straight across the middle. They were just getting burnt. I don't know if it was a cut, it was a wanting to send them off to another a linebacker or a safety sitting down there in that zone, but I saw it 3 or 4 times today, and it was kind of mind-boggling to me, really.
Yeah, no, I agree with I agree with everything you're saying. We texted about it throughout the game as well. The Jack Lausch thing, I agree. He had a great game. That's the best game that I've seen Jack Lausch play. With that said, you and I have both watched him, because we've been texting each other because I've been a little bit higher on Northwestern than I probably should be, right? We saw them blow the game against Duke. We saw them struggle against Miami. We've watched a lot of every time Northwestern's play. I feel like we've watched them, and we've seen Jack Lausch basically since he took over for Mike Wright, and he's not good. He's not a quarterback. I think he played well today. I think him playing well today is more evidence of the defensive backs not playing well, because he was hitting guys. He was hitting guys in stride. The defensive line get a ton of pressure. I got to go back and kind of watch more of the defensive line. I know that Jack Sawyer and JTT, it felt like they didn't play a whole lot. It felt like they were rotating guys early and often, which is fine. I don't have an issue with that. But before, I don't want to really judge them until I go back and take a second look. Because we run a funky defensive line scheme as far as bringing pressure goes. We've talked about that a million times on the show. But the defensive backs, you got to cover. It's pretty simple. I don't need to go take a second look to figure out that the defensive backs were bad. And they made Jack Lausch look good. And I sat there and thought to myself, man, if Northwestern had a quarterback, if Northwestern had Hudson Card from Purdue, or even their freshman, even their Ryan Brown, who was bigger, more athletic, and had a better arm than Jack Lausch, dude, Ohio State would be in some trouble today. I don't know if they were ever going to lose the game, but Northwestern was moving the ball really efficiently before everything fell down like a house of cards with the fumble and the block punt. It was just kind of a snowball effect, and that's going to happen. But Ohio State fans need to really take that with a grain of salt, right? Like, I wouldn't classify this as a blowout. Some bad things happened in Northwestern that made them go, game over. You know what I mean? It's actually a perfect comparison to the Mike Tyson fight, because once Mike Tyson figured out that he couldn't move, he was just like, I'm just going to try not to get knocked out. You know what I mean?
I'm just going to keep the hands up and keep biting my gloves.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. That's what Northwestern did. They're like, let us know when the game's over. Like, you know what I mean? But
absolutely.
You can't deny that the first quarter, they looked really – they didn't look – I want to be careful. I understand that their game plan was to keep the ball, and keep the clock going, and that was working. I think Ohio State was always going to win the game. I was never in fear of Ohio State losing the game. I want to be very clear about that. But Northwestern looked impressive. Their game plan was working.
They stuck to a game plan, and honestly, let's be real. It was a 4th down punt, and if you go back and watch the film, he's on the side of the field where the grandstands are, and the sun is going right down.
Oh, is that what it was, you think?
Yeah, the sun was coming right through that I think it was like left field, and it was right through the hash marks right to him, and he just didn't see that damn. Mind you, it was a bad snap, don't get me wrong, but maybe he could have corralled it. But it was, and then honestly, just the scoop and try to punt it again kind of befuddled me as well. I will say
the fumble too. We talked about the 2 snaps, but the fumble, the Jack Lausch fumble too, where Igbedosa picked it up too. If you suck and you know that you're gonna need a
they're backbreakers. Yeah,
exactly. I know a lot of people don't believe in momentum for some reason. That's the 2024 analytical hot topic is momentum's not real. Bullshit. That's stuff will destroy you.
Well, I'll tell you another thing that's got me concerned is, hey, the first half of the season, it was all about, our defensive lines and gap integrity, keeping gap integrity. If you get to the quarterback, that's great. Last couple weeks, we've been, dialing up a little bit of pressure, but guess what? Then Jack Lausch, he's using his feet. I'm wondering what we see with Jim Knowles come next week, if we see less pressure when fear of a quarterback getting outside or cutting up the ball and running, that's a concern for me today. That's one takeaway that I'm looking ahead to Indiana next week.
I know, and you've mentioned Indiana, and that's wise too. And we'll have. I think I messaged Coach Stewart. He said he was going to be back on this week as well, and I'm interested to hear his take. Because I think he has I think you and him both have a more positive take on Indiana than I. And I always said I think Curt Cignetti's not only the best coach in the Big Ten, but probably the best. I think Curt Cignetti's the best coach in the Big Ten by a pretty wide margin. And I've said that for about 9 months. I pretty much said this since the day they hired him. But it's still Indiana. Like, I still have it. Maybe that's a me issue. But I've also said that all season long and been wrong all season long. I keep saying that, Indiana's one bad injury away from falling apart, and that's been completely inaccurate. But I'm still not necessarily worried about Indiana. Indiana feels like, I don't know. I think that Ohio State can play the game that they're playing right now and still come out and maybe not destroy Indiana.
Right.
Win and me not have to worry about it. The game that I'm worried about is Oregon, because it doesn't feel like we've gotten better in the defensive backfield since Oregon.
No, I will wholeheartedly agree with you on that one.
And it feels like Oregon's gotten a little bit better. I'm
not looking at their scores. You wouldn't have thought Oregon's gotten better. They've cleaned up some little mistakes. They haven't had a lot of big play explosiveness, but they've cleaned up a lot of little things. That short passing game they do. They've started to, finally get their timing right and what have you. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem with Oregon. I will say, we've covered the defensive backs. As you said earlier, hey, I think both Travion and Quinshon ran well. I think when you start maybe halfway through the third quarter, you started seeing that we're Ohio State, you're Northwestern, we're going to start running the ball, and you're tired and we're not, and you started seeing 7, 8, 9 yards of carry, and offensive line started to look good.
Yeah. And Northwestern's got a good defense. Their defensive line sucks. Or their defensive line is less than ideal. It's not, a classical tough defensive line, but their linebackers move fast and efficiently. Their defensive backs move fast and efficiently. That Fossil dude, we talked about him during the pregame watch. That young redshirt freshman, I think he's from Ohio, and he looks really good. He looked really good. I mean, he stuck with Jeremiah Smith stride for stride. That's a guy that I would, if he enters the transfer portal, I hope Ohio State's all over. So Northwestern's defense is no joke. Their offense is a huge joke. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for that, but their defense is no joke. And I thought they moved the ball efficiently. They moved the ball well. They slipped up a couple times. I thought Tegra Shabola, you said this last week, where you said he moves really well when he's on. He's a really good blocker when he's on the move. And I didn't disagree with you, but I was upset thinking, well, but he gets his ass. He's the same size as Corey Stringer, and he gets his ass blown. He doesn't dominate like he should. I'm kind of coming over more to what you were saying, like, hey, he doesn't do that really well, and that's the stereotype for what he looks like. Yeah. But he does do this really well. And there were a couple plays there, and I'm going to go back and watch it tomorrow. But there were a couple runs that really popped behind him when he was moving and reaching and pulling. And
naturally
stuff. Yeah. So
naturally, like I said, I think you get him outside, get that big body, a full head of steam. He is, like we talked last week, he is a little nimble in the feet. But again, it's with that size, it's with that stature that he possesses. I think when James People got in there, looked well.
Yes.
Again,
good. James People looks good.
You got to feel good for Carnell Tate coming back home and having the game he had, without question. And I think it was said on the broadcast by one of our favorite names in sports commentating, Jake Butt, was Carnell Tate, he could be a number one on about 100 Division I college football programs.
That's not an exaggeration. I really don't think that's an exaggeration. I know I'm an Ohio State homer, but I don't. We talked about it in the offseason where I was kind of thinking like, man, I don't know if Jeremiah Smith is going to be the number one outside receiver. Carnell Tate's good. He's really good. I think it's going to be a battle for that. And I believe that. I think Carnell Tate's really good. He's kind of proved it here the last couple of weeks, really.
Yeah, I don't have any quarrels, any qualms with Will Howard's play today, but maybe the one duck on fourth down. That's about it.
I'd have to. I don't remember it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Was
that last drive he had there, fourth down, they went for it, fourth and 10, threw a duck up there to
yeah.
Parnell Tate.
Oh, that's right, because he had to turn all the way around to get. Yeah. Yeah. You know, if that's the only bad play that sticks out in your mind, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. You know, it wasn't the best game we've ever seen him have, but I don't think it's far from the issue.
No, it was a weird sequence of plays though. Like we said, we had Travion Henderson do hurdle a defender for an extra half of a yard. We had a pass interference no call, which on Bennett Christensen.
I thought that was blatant.
Well, I think the refs were like, "All right, boys, come on now."
Yeah, that's fair.
It's 31-7. Yeah,
and he didn't take off at all either. And you mentioned something last week too about God. I can't remember your exact words, but we was talking about Will Howard running and not running, and I think it was you that said that you're hoping that Will Howard doesn't run a whole lot this week.
Naturally, yeah,
for injury's sake,
all season.
Yeah, and I kind of disagree. I didn't disagree with you, but I was thinking, if that's the offense, that's the offense. I still think that that's the offense. It's clear that's the offense. But I think that obviously you were right because they had no interest in running that dude. No. I mean, that 4th and 3 play that they ran, that's definitely going to be some kind of RPO if it's against Indiana or Michigan. So it's hard to gauge. It's hard to talk shit about the offense not knowing when you know that they're designing the game plan to not get certain people hurt. But I don't, like I said, my big qualms are with the defensive backs. If the linebackers played well too, I want to give the linebackers some credit. I know CJ Hicks, everybody's making a big deal about CJ Hicks looking good. He looked good in kind of garbage time. He did look better. He is a good pass rusher. I think that, and again, Coach Stewart kind of talked about this as well. I think it's easy to look good as a pass rusher when the game's over and the other team's throwing the ball every play.
Naturally.
And with this defensive line as well, if you blitz Sonny Styles every play, and every play Sonny Styles blitzed, he was kind of in the quarterback's face as well. Yeah. So I don't want to give the linebackers too much credit. Again, it was Northwestern. Northwestern's offense is just not great. That's half the problem there. But as far as the defense goes, they were far from the problem. I think the problem was very clearly the defensive backfield.
Yeah, no, hardly. You brought up Sonny Styles. I'm not going to sit here and give him his roses, but I will give him a nice pat on the back. Sonny Styles had a nice pass deflection that hey, he was in on the play with the forced fumble as well. He got in the backfield. I've got nothing to say on Sonny Styles today. Again, we had our boy Arvell Reese leading the team with 7 total tackles again this week and a half a sack, and 2 of them being solo. Let's be real though.
I thought they all looked okay. I thought the linebackers all looked. I thought they looked good. They looked better. I was happy with them. I thought that they played better as a unit than maybe the defensive. They were probably the best defensive unit. I thought. Usually we text each other like, "Ooh, another missed tackle." Usually Sonny Styles misses a tackle in the open field that we're like, "Dude, he didn't do that." I don't remember him doing that this game. Again, I'll have to go back and watch. But yeah, man, I thought the linebackers were probably the best part of the defensive unit. And the defensive line was just okay. You want to see the defensive line be more impressive against such a shitty offensive line, especially an offense that was pretty much designed to run it right down your throat. And they ran, like you said, it was not a very complicated offense, but again, the defensive backs were just so bad.
Yeah, no, wholeheartedly. And also, I enjoyed the pass selection for Jeremiah Smith. I like seeing the stuff in the gritty zones. I like seeing stuff in the middle of the field. I like to see him take that ball, make those tough catches, make a catch as a young freshman when someone's there is going to take a shot at you. That I'm with that. Again, 4 catches, 100 yards, so he's averaging 25 a pop. Mind you, he had the big one there in the third, and everyone's all on social media about a possible ankle raking from a Northwestern defender, but it is what it is. It's football. But
I thought the pass interference was more blatant than that.
I'd go with you on that one.
I bitched about the wide receivers last week because you just don't see them getting enough space. You don't see them separating a lot. And again, you comment on the fact like, hey, maybe that's not the wide receivers. Maybe that's the offense, because Ryan Day calls a very vertical attack. And I don't think Chip Kelly does. And I think that you're probably right because today was, they got open today. They got open today. They were creating separation today. And Northwestern's got a better defensive backfield than Purdue. So I think you're probably right. It probably was more to do with the play calling than anything.
Yeah, they finished the game. Buckeyes lost that time of possession battle. Like we said, that first quarter, that first half, Northwestern was absolutely say, hey, this is our game plan. We're going to hold the ball. We're going to have long, methodical drives. We're going to see what kind of points we get at the end of it. They had over almost 32 minutes time of possession to Ohio State's 27. So.
Yeah, that's also that. And again, that's people are going to see some of those stats and blame the offense. Man, that's the defense. The defense couldn't get off the field. I just worry about the defense. I really do. I'm going to go back and watch and try to make myself feel better. But that's a real concern, dude. It's a real concern.
Naturally. No, wholeheartedly. Any other takes? What else we think? What else do we see from this game? Good thing that the end zone or the sidelines really didn't come into a factor.
Kill anybody?
No one got just decapitated or taken out or thrown into a dugout. I'm almost certain we came out of this game injury free. Got the grass and that field there, and it didn't look wet, but maybe it was wet the night before.
The Jeremiah Smith thing is alarming. Sometimes those ankle injuries, it's not something that's immediate. Sometimes it's like,
it's a little lingering.
Yeah, a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He might have been working off adrenaline, and tomorrow he wakes up and feels off. And that would be a huge bummer. We'll see. Yeah. Tyleik Williams looked good. Tyleik Williams was playing. That was the big health concern, right? But he looked good.
Williams and Hamilton. Hamilton looked bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the reason I mentioned Tyleik Williams because he was hurt.
The injury.
He was out or whatever. Mitchell Melton was listed out. I know he's not a starter, but he's on the 2 deep. He contributes. We'll see what happens next week. I don't know. But yeah, those are kind of my takeaways. I do think it's interesting. We didn't touch about this on our podcast because it seems so obvious. We didn't want to waste any time talking about it. But I was listening to some of my other friends' podcasts that are more not Ohio State guys,
right.
and they were reaching out to me too. They're like, Ohio State's going to have a hard time. Playing in Wrigley Field, they thought that was going to make Northwestern fans want to go. And I'm like, you're not, I think you're misunderstanding the situation 100%. Like,
right.
That's going to make Ohio State fans want to go see it more.
Exactly.
And, it wasn't worth, I think it was very obvious for anybody that follows Ohio State like we do. But yeah, people were surprised. People in the national media were kind of surprised. You could hear the OHIO chants on TV. And I'm like, no, man, like that's kind of what was expected.
Yeah. No, well, we've got Northwestern dropping the game 31-7 to the Buckeyes. That puts Northwestern at 4-6. They need to win their last 2 to become bowl eligible. I don't know who they've got on the schedule, to be honest with you.
I don't either. They're a tough squad. Northwestern does not suck. I would say that Northwestern is a much tougher team than like Purdue. Like I do put them in different categories.
I'm here to tell you that Northwestern has Michigan followed by Illinois their last 2 games of the season.
Yeah, they're going to lose to Michigan for sure.
So
they're going to fight Illinois.
No, naturally. But if I was a betting man, I'd say that the Wildcats do not go bowling this year.
Yeah, that's probably a safe bet. I don't think they'll be a fun team to watch next year, though.
Yeah. Let's go ahead. He stands out every game. He maybe just gets he'll get a shout out or 2 from the commentary team, but Caleb Downs looks like an All-American still.
Yes,
you expect it, and even though you're expecting him to come out there and play like that All-American that he is, he still comes up and pops people. He still comes up and doesn't go at the ankles or this and that. He comes to play ball, and with him and Jeremiah Smith, we can sit here and argue, Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, best freshman in the country. We've got the 2 best underclassmen on our team, without question. Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs are the 2 best underclassmen in college football that are on the same team.
Yeah, man. And Edric Houston, give it time. Edric Houston didn't look super great today, but give it time. That guy was a former 5-star for a reason, and that I think they moved him in a position that he's going to be much more physically able to be elite at. But yeah, even James Peoples looked really good. They said, hey, Travion and Quinshawn are hurt. We got to roll with James Peoples against Indiana. I feel pretty good about it, to be honest with you. So
no,
Tate's an underclassman too, right? He's a sophomore.
Yeah, he's a sophomore.
Yeah, there's a
He's
lot of
sophomore as well.
youth on this team.
A lot of youth on this team. What we're going to do is you're going to go ahead. We're going to go about our weekends. You're going to watch. You and I are both going to go ahead and give this game another look. We will be back Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to clean up anything that we might have missed, anything that you guys out there that have tuned in, liked, commented, subscribed. We greatly appreciate it. You guys want to bring up, we're going to go ahead and touch on a little bit more of the minutiae details that was Ohio State's victory over Northwestern 31-7. We're going to go ahead and preview the big matchup with Indiana. We're going to go ahead and look at the rest of the Big Ten slot. We're going to have Coach Ryan Stewart back on next week. Hopefully. Okay. No promises. I know he's got the coaches crazies out there. So if he's here, they'll be coming in full force. But anything else you got for Josh?
No, man, that's it. I'm watching the Illinois-Michigan State game, and I'm sure you and I will be, following up on our bets on our Big Ten stuff. So, you guys, if you guys have anything for us to talk about on Monday, please let us know. Give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. You guys were great, man. Chris and I were talking about it yesterday. This was our last video was our highest viewed video. I mean, our highest views. All I had to do was hit 4, but. But no, we cracked the 50 with the 50 view mark, and we hit it kind of fast too. So
yeah,
I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but it is for us, and we appreciate that. Just please keep thumbs upping and liking and subbing.
Absolutely. 50 of y'all watch that last video. Y'all keep it up. Before long, I'm going to have to give YouTube, write them a letter and say, hey, get our plaque ready. But we greatly appreciate the support, each and every single one of you. Just jump in for a little bit, listen to what the two of us yahoos got to say, and talk about passionate Ohio State football. Passionate. Very passionate. But again, I'm Chris. This is Josh. You can find Josh where?
Yeah, follow me on X at Josh Keatley 16, and then you can follow my work at Buckeyes Wire, and then maybe on Facebook or whatever.
And I'm Chris. You can find me at CRunning15 on X. You can text me, jump on my Facebook, whatever you guys want to do. If you want to come on and have a talk with us, hey, we'll send you through security first, and then we'll get you on if you want to come talk. If you got something you want to say, or you want to just jump in the comment section and just have a go. Hey, come Monday, we'll be on for an hour. We've got time.
Yep.
So
we'll answer anything. We'll answer anything, even if it's not football related. I was reading a story the other day about a man sliding an eel up his butthole for pleasure in India. We could talk about that. It's up to you guys. It's up to you guys.
Or
no, wait. Was it Korea? I don't know. I'll have to Google it. I was reading it the other day. I was more focused on the eel part, not the location part.
Well, I'm more surprised you didn't bookmark it for later. But but each and every one of you out there, thanks for tuning in. We will be back Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, if anyone else is out here other than me. But this is the Ohio State Mind Podcast. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you in a couple of days. Go Bucks.